remarks, I want to say, first of all, what an inspiring day, right? I think that the theme that this is all about, it's not it's completely bipartisan, and that we have people both who've done this work for a long time, as well as people who are new to this work, is incredibly inspiring. So I want to just call out all of the fellow speakers today. Thank you for being digital equity champions. I just wanted to read some quotes that I thought were really impressive. So from Peter Estes, that lack of access and connectivity compounds existing inequities. From Brittany Wardorson, everyone in doing this work is community-minded and community-driven. And then finally from Samuel Blackwood, his motivation, his why for doing this work is that it is truly just and equitable. So thank you all to these equity champions and even the others I didn't cite. I want to recognize that this work does not take place only on my shoulders. I have a much larger team that helps support this work. And so just recognizing that a lot of it was initiated by a gentleman named Ed Blaney on my team, who was previously our Civic technology manager and has since gone to the private sector. But a lot of this work was done with his guidance and vision, and now is being led by Ricky Santiago, who is our digital inclusion lead. So thank you, Ricky. I wanted to call out Paul Barrera, who's our AmeriCorps Vista, who's helping us on some very important initiatives around refurbishment for devices. And finally, two of my directors. So Eric Burnett, who's the new director of innovation and is, again, helping to oversee this work, and Chris Sight, the director of IT. Again, it takes a village. And so if I could share some slides. Because I think it's helpful to have some visual aids about the work that we're doing. And let me know, I believe it's attempting to share, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that it works. Perfect. Can everyone see those slides? I see some nods. Thank you. Well, when I used to give this talk, sometimes it would actually take a little bit of convincing that tech is important to everyone, and that to live a full, rich 21st century life, you would need to have a digital life. I think that not that you would ever want to say that there is a silver lining to a global pandemic, but what COVID-19 created was the environment in which it exposed the very deep challenges that existed this entire time for individuals who were experiencing and living the digital divide. And I think part of what helped people really empathize with this is, even look at how much we've been struggling with technology. And we certainly are people who have skills, have connectivity, have access to robust hardware, and yet even we experience struggles. It's very easy then to empathize with individuals who are experiencing real barriers to be able to participate. And so thank goodness we don't need to convince anyone that tech is important to everyone. So let me tell you a little bit about Louisville, Kentucky. We are the largest metropolitan city in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We have a population that's about 750,000 people. Our larger metropolitan statistical area is between 1 and 2 million individuals. And like many cities in the heartland, we're spread over a large square area. So over 400 square miles, just to give you a sense. Louisville Jefferson County is a consolidated city-county government, and that affords us some opportunities, but it also can present some challenges. And certainly meeting the needs, the broadband needs of residents, both in urban, suburban, and rural areas, present different challenges. So I just wanted to call that out, that I think that this is, in fact, an experience, listening to the other speakers, that's actually rather universal. We're feeling a lot of the same pain, whether it's around affordability or around actual access. And Louisville certainly experiences that in all of its geographic diversity. So a little bit about the data pre-pandemic. And I want to stress that because of data lag, we really don't have a good sense of how much programs post-COVID have moved the needle here, although we have some initial proxy data. So again, prior to the pandemic, according to data sources like the American Community Survey, close to 30% of Louisville households had no internet access at home. And 22% of households did not have a computer. A lot of times, again, I'm so glad to hear the panelists speak about how while we want to be mobile friendly, there are so many things you just can't do on that type of device with that limited screen real estate, right? You can't write a meaningful book report on a cell phone. You can't apply to college on a cell phone. Good luck trying to apply for a loan really meaningfully on a cell phone. And while you could have some limited telehealth through mobile devices, again, far richer benefits from having robust devices to help you be able to experience that. And again, I'm seeing that these numbers are very similar to other cities. It's a sad state of affairs. So let's map it, right? The data here is actually a combination of sources, but primarily the FCC 477 data. I know there's a lot of criticism around it, but what we would stress is that even with its limitations, think of this data as setting an upper bound to how well connectivity is in your market. Meaning that if, let's say, there is a single home in a census block that has certain speeds and it's represented, that's the best case scenario. And even the best case scenario, when you map it, leaves a lot to be desired. And so in Louisville, and it is, again, in a lot of metro cities, the digital divide mirrors the social divide. So where there are neighborhoods of concentrated poverty, and these are neighborhoods that are predominantly Black and brown residents, we see significant lack of people connected, and we can talk about the reasons for that, but they are not connected in their homes. And I really want to stress that when policymakers look at this, we are, again, confronted with the reality that the social divide mirrors the digital divide, and that it is up to us to figure out, especially policy tools to be able to address this. Let's talk a little bit about the stark challenges around delivering non-traditional instruction. So at the start of the pandemic, we knew that it wasn't just going to be children who reside in those neighborhoods. Certainly there'd be concentration, but in fact, what we asked our consolidated school district to do was to map how many households needed devices so that there would be a device for a child to be able to participate in NTI, and also where students still failed to connect. And what you'll see is that, yes, there was a concentration that very much reflects our social divide and digital divide maps, but actually there are challenges throughout the county. And in fact, parts of the county where you see less concentration is really just a matter of less housing density. And so it looks a lot like the population rather than just social challenges. And so just a little bit about what we've been doing. I want to stress again, back to that, it takes a village. My team has been working on this for a very long time. We started looking at this from a mayoral strategic priority back in 2015, created a strategic plan that had a three-legged stool approach. So not just addressing connectivity, but also hardware and skills. And through a completely unfunded program, we're pulling in amazing numbers prior to the pandemic. So through sweat equity of my team, we were able to pre-qualify over 1,000 families and low-cost internet plans that were available in our market area. We were able to establish a computer donation and then refurbishment program so that we could distribute computers to families in need, as well as set up community computer labs. And again, it was in the thousands. And then finally, we both hosted our own digital skills training programs and also really looking to scale, partnered with community service organizations to train the trainer so that they could develop, and leverage existing curriculum as a value add to their existing community-based programs to help, especially the residents who are technology uncomfortable, and take them from that uncomfortable state to comfortable. And so let's dive in, because again, we were very proud of our 1,000 household number. And I think that the groundwork that was done because of that has resulted in these numbers that we're seeing. So what the map here is showing is, in fact, our emergency broadband benefit enrollment numbers at ZIP 5 level. And for those who are not aware, this data is actually available on the USAC website. They have it for EBB. They also have it for ACP. And so you can begin doing your own mapping efforts to see. The map that I'm showing here is data through the end of November 2021. And at that point, over 30,000 households had enrolled in EBB. The color scale here represents the darker the green, the higher the concentration of households enrolled in EBB. And so we're delighted to see that, in fact, those efforts we've put forth, again, the groundwork we've done to pre-qualify 1,000 has, I think, contributed a lot to people being aware of these programs existing, trusting that these programs are real, and then also going through the steps to enroll. We built training videos to help people navigate enrollment and make sure that they could take full advantage of these programs. So to go from 1,000 households effort to 30x increase, again, especially because of our groundwork, we couldn't be more thrilled. The most recent ACP data, it would indicate that we've increased another 20%, so 6,000 additional households have enrolled. And we're going to continue to be mapping and monitoring this. The other things we've done, we've made investments. So I think a lot of municipalities are really excited about the opportunities afforded through the American Rescue Plan Act dollars, as well as the bipartisan infrastructure law dollars. The city did not know this back in 2016. We had at that time, a historic opportunity to participate in an overbuild opportunity with the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And we were able to, through that participation, increase our fiber footprint, a middle mile municipal fiber footprint, from about 20 miles, linear miles, that were concentrated in the central business district, to an additional 100 linear miles spread across all corners of the county along some major traffic corridors. And so just, I think that as communities think about what they can do to begin preparing and what kind of vision they should be communicating with their constituents, these are the types of projects that we should get our communities excited about. The historic opportunities to get a 5x match on local money to be able to build out something similar that would support connectivity efforts. Other things that we can do to prepare. I cannot stress how important it is, again, as a policymaker, to focus on policy. So back prior to 2016, the city already had a 1 dig ordinance that said that if the roads are being dug up, we had the opportunity at no cost to put conduit in the road. There are certainly limitations on how that ordinance has been leveraged and executed. But again, similarly, we were the first city to pass, again, unanimously across a bipartisan effort, a one-touch make-ready ordinance. So oftentimes, a barrier to connectivity and entrance into the market is make-ready, so pole attachments, and putting in place policies that make it easy to do business with the city as well as with pole owners is a great thing to do and get in place. 2 other things I wanted to call out from a policy standpoint: large area permitting, making sure that you don't require those who need to put infrastructure in the public rights of way to have to create a permit for every single intersection, but rather through a larger area such as a census block. Again, makes it easier for competition and choice to enter the market. And then finally, the city was among the first to create a unified communication service franchise, meaning that it didn't matter how the information was being delivered to residents and businesses. If that infrastructure was going to require access to public rights of way, that those organizations and entities would be able to obtain a franchise, and it would be streamlined as a unified communication service franchise. And so I know that I'm running out of time, but I really wanted to call out my why, which is that you can't be what you can't see. And so when we talk about making sure that there is access, whether it's through actual connectivity to unserved households or affordability, addressing affordability, making sure that we have community computer labs so that the near peer learning that's so important can exist. And that, one thing we really learned was that it's so important to have these trainings in person, not just because individuals are going to have challenges doing this from home, but that having empathetic, compassionate trainers who know how daunting technology can be and that the human machine interface can be one of those barriers, but having that person in the room who's your advocate and your largest cheerleader help you navigate those barriers is going to make an enormous difference in success around acquiring digital skills. And so for us, it's really just reminding everyone that there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all solution to solving this problem. We'll need to take a myriad of approaches, and we're looking forward to figuring out what that means, especially with states as they receive these historic infrastructure funds. So I'll pause there.